So much, Leanne, and welcome back to Pretoria. And we are, of course, at the annual conference of the Competition Commission of South Africa, and a special conference this year as they are celebrating their 20th anniversary. So we mentioned earlier some of the issues that the Competition Commission has brought to the spotlight, placed on the table, and interrogated very robustly. And they've had a stellar cast of guests and speakers here already this week. We've had the former Constitutional Court Judge Justice Albie Sachs was here, also Minister of Justice Ronald Lamula, he's been here, and of course, as I'd indicated earlier, the Chief Justice of the Republic, Mogoeng, will be here later on to deliver an address to this conference. But joining me now is the Deputy Commissioner of the Competition Commission here in South Africa, Mr. Hardin Ratshisusu, to talk about some of the developments and also what's happened over the years. Thanks so much for making the time this morning. So just looking at the conference and what it's delivered thus far, let's reflect for a moment on the evolution of the Competition Commission over these 2 decades.
Oh, thank you, Sakina, and good morning to the viewers. It is indeed a significant milestone this for the South African competition authorities. We opened doors in September 1999 with a new act that was adopted under the presidency of Nelson Mandela. So this was one piece of legislation that was meant to transform the economy, address the apartheid legacy, transform structures of the South African economy. So if you look at it, for the past 20 years, we have addressed a number of issues, be it in construction, be it bread cartels, in ARV markets. There are many other things that we have done, but as you look at it, it's just 20 years. We still have a long way to go as a country because as we speak, our numbers are not looking good on jobs, on poverty, on inequality. So we still have a long way to go, but this is one such institution that we believe is making a meaningful contribution to this democracy.
And with regard to competition and anti-competitive behavior in the markets, how would you assess the Competition Commission's work over the past 20 years?
Past 20 years, when we started, initially the first 5 years, we were building the institution. So getting businesses, by the way, to be familiar with the law, because it was a new law. In the past, you'll know that there were cartels that were sanctioned, in the cement markets. We had agricultural and marketing boards in food. Farmers were used to fixing prices. So when we got in, we needed to do a lot of advocacy in the first 5 years. We did that. Unfortunately, a lot of companies did not change their behavior to comply with the law. Hence, we had the cartels in construction, bread. And to date, we have fined these companies over 8 billion rands. Which is paid back to the fiscus, but we have currently, and it's still shocking this, because we have over 100 cartel cases we are investigating. We have another 80 odd so cartels that are before our tribunal. So this is an ongoing process, but it's not unique to South Africa. Many countries have been regulating competition for years. The US, if you go to the US, there are still cartels there. You know the banking cartel case. That's a global cartel. So we have those challenges, but we are here for that. We should regulate the markets, and we will regulate them without fear, favor, or prejudice.
And I guess the fourth industrial revolution is upon us, and there are quite a few concerns about the disruptive nature of digital markets. And how has that altered the work that you do as the Competition Commission?
This is a huge development. I think the fourth industrial revolution is not going to change the way markets operate as we know them, but the way we should be working as agencies, from within. But let me look at the markets. We have now larger firms than before. the likes of Amazon. These are global giants, Google's, Alibaba. How do we respond to those companies? They're doing business in South Africa, but South Africa is such a small portion of their entire, global market. So we have been looking at it and say, well, to tackle digital markets decisively, we need to collaborate globally. We have been advocating for this at the UNCTAD, at the OECD, and we have a network of competition authorities globally, the International Competition Network, because we know that individually as countries, there are things that we may not be able to do. But there are those issues that are specific to the local market, the local startup. How do we ensure that the environment is conducive to our local startups? So there are things that we can do locally. If you look at the platforms such as Booking.com, there are some terms they put out there that are not fair to the hotels. So those are sort of cases that we could take, but they've been taken on in Europe. But going into the future, we should be looking into those markets. And I think Booking.com is a candidate. That you can start looking at digital platform. How can you ensure that digital platform benefits our local businesses, benefits our consumers in South Africa?
Well, certainly much more to talk about, and we certainly will be talking about it. But for now, we're going to park this one here. We will be bringing you a few more commentators here from the Competition Commission's annual conference to talk about the various issues that they deal with and also that they are challenged by. As you heard there, the digital markets in particular proving to be a challenge at this point, but an interesting challenge that perhaps requires greater global cooperation. But thanks so much to Mr. Hardin Ratshisusu, who is the Deputy Commissioner of the Competition Commission here in South Africa. And with that, it's back to the studio, and we'll see you later.